I like to ask guys this. If you're removed, you've been out for a long time, relatively speaking. When you look back, the good, the bad, the trauma, the TBI, the PTSD, all of it, family, good and bad, your wife sticking with you. If you could go back in time to September 11th when you got the letter to go, shortly after September 11th, when you got the letter to go to selection for the unit you ended up in, would you do it all over again, or would you not have gone?
Oh, I'd do it all over again. I would certainly do some things differently. Um, I think the mistake that people make, David, is they look back at their lives and the trauma or, the hard times or whatnot, and they view it as, a negative only. The way I go back and kind of look at the traumas and all the things that I went through, it's a refining process. And the result is where I am right now. And that refining process will continue. Certainly not perfect, so never will be perfect. But, if we can go back and look at those events as shaping, molding, refining events in our lives, that even though they're very difficult to go through in the moment, they actually serve a purpose and forming who we are today. So no, I would go back and do it again. Sure.
I got to be honest with you. I've asked that question to probably 40 plus people. 39 of them have all said they would absolutely go back and do it again. Only one person, and he gave a legitimate reason why. But yeah, I like asking it. I generally know what a guy's going to say, but it's good to hear. Like, that's very inspiring that even through all your highs and lows, you would still go back and serve the country at the tip of the spear the way you did. I think that's incredibly, incredibly awesome. These are two fun ones that I like to close out. The viewers know what these are about. We like to play a little comparison game. Give me 1 second.
I'm going to get a sip of my monster.
We like to play a comparison game of different units, different branches of the military, and foreign militaries. So I'm going to start with the Brits. There have been a handful of British SAS guys who've come on this show. I love those guys. They're very entertaining, very, very, very funny. You come from, the American world of that. What is your honest opinion of how you view the 22 SAS?
Yeah, I love those guys. Cut from the same cloth. They do things a little bit different, but that's fine. Post-career, I was at Cryo Precision and was the international user representative, and spent a lot of time with those guys. And come to find out, one of them in particular, we were doing a mission together one night. They had one objective, we had the other, and as it turns out, we decided to go kinetic on our objective, and they were trying to sneak up on theirs. And then, they got compromised earlier on, but we finally kind of made that connection years and years later. But those guys are awesome. They're awesome. Can't say enough good things about them and kind of what they're doing and what they've done. Their history, their legacy, how that their legacy and history influenced the unit that I came from, and just a lot of really great things. Have some deep bonds with them. I know we were talking about this earlier, but I had a kind of a funny moment. Our law enforcement rep from Cryo, I think it was at the AUSA show that they have in DC every year. And so we were all there as part of AUSA. And kind of a side note, our LE rep set up a tour of the White House for us. And so it was like the two guys, myself and a couple others, our LE rep. And we ended up getting a really good tour of the executive building and the White House that evening. But on one particular moment, we were downstairs, and I guess you call it the basement, and there's an original White House like stone archway. And the Secret Service guy that was giving us a tour was like, "Hey, you guys see those char marks on the stone?" And we're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, those are the original char marks from when the Brits burned down the White House." To which I'd look at our Brit buddies and said, "We'll accept your apology now." we all had a good time. But yeah, having that experience with them and just, yeah, nothing but good things to say about them. A lot of close bonds with some of those guys and nothing but respect.
That's great to hear. And that doesn't surprise me. And everything I hear about the 22 SAS and when I interview those guys, I mean, they're just cool. They're just cool dudes. And I know that they have an incredible amount of mutual respect for the United States counterpart that they have. The last one in the comparison thing is obviously the Navy. I ask this in every interview. They have their own, little world too. When you compare yourself in the world you come from to them, how would you compare and contrast? And what's something that you would say maybe they're better at or that you guys are better at? And then what do you think about those guys just kind of as general dudes?
Oh, guys as general dudes, they're all great. I actually had an opportunity to train and deploy with some of them. They integrated really well on our teams. I would say the biggest difference really is culture. At that level, it's just a different culture. But every guy to his core is pretty much the same. Obviously, they're better at maritime activities than we were, because we just didn't mess around with that. But I'd say overall, still very competent and share a lot of similar qualities and abilities and capabilities and whatnot. Obviously, I have to be biased. Army did beat Navy this year, and at the game, I was sitting next to my buddy from Virginia Beach, and it was just a pleasure of mine to know that Army beat Navy. There will always be, I think, a rivalry between the two, for sure, as it should be. I will say this, and kind of my party comment here. I saw multiple guys from the Navy leave the Navy and come over to our side. I've never seen a guy from our side go over to the Navy. So I'll leave it at that.
That's a great way. Well, Jeremy, this has just been an absolutely awesome experience. I know this took like 7 months of planning and things to get this together. And I cannot thank you enough for coming on here to tell your story, talk about SOC-F. And if anyone's listening to this and is interested, please look up SOC-F. And Jeremy, I have a feeling you and I are going to stay in touch. And I can't thank you enough. This was incredible.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, David. I'm actually about to head out on Sunday to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro with a couple of other nonprofits. We're calling it Task Force Expedition. It's gonna be a good time, and hopefully we'll all make it to the summit and get all back home.